comfortable seated position. Good morning. My name is Lorry, and Belina has asked me to share with you Kripalu Yoga this morning. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a little introduction, a little history. Has anybody, first of all, practiced Kripalu before? Oh, this is great. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little history, and then we're going to go into the practice. And then, of course, always the, I call it the reward at the end, the being, the relaxation part. And it's a little bit different. So Kripalu Yoga is actually a center, a yoga center. And it's the largest yoga center in North America, and it's located in Lenox, Massachusetts. Has anybody been there? Okay, yeah, it's a special place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So what you would find there at Kripalu Center is all kinds of yoga, and that's why Galina wanted me to come today and kind of share that with you. It's really important in our yoga practice that we experience all different types of yoga, really, and we find what resonates for us. And, you know, different times of life is different types of yoga as well, right? Like the yoga I did in my 20s is very different than the yoga I do today. So, you know, today is about experiencing different type of yoga. So the Kripalu Center in Lenox, Massachusetts, actually there was a guru called Swami Kripalu, and his student, Amrit Desai, brought it to North America. And really it wasn't until the last, I would say maybe 10 or 15 years that yoga has now become an industry. It's kind of gone to the opposite. There's a pendulum, right? There's a swing. There's now you'll find out there the yoga's in the health clubs. And then there's the ancient practice of yoga that's 5,000 years old that really wants the emphasis on three things. So to yoga is to join, right? And the three things that we want to join is the body, the breath, and the mind. So Kripalu Yoga's emphasis, because each one of the practices has a different kind of pillar, a focal point. With Kripalu, the practice and the emphasis is on the heart. Because they believe that when you practice with your heart instead of your mind, that you actually can really feel and go to a deeper level of consciousness with your yoga practice. So I always find this a little interesting. So first of all, I should tell you I am a certified Kripalu Yoga teacher. I'm also a certified yoga kids teacher, and I've been practicing or teaching at Markham Stouffville Hospital for the last 10 years. We use this a lot at the hospital, and I just thought I thought it would be fun to bring this today because this is kind of the Kripalu teachings as well. So this is called the mind jar, and just you know, little information. This is all about gathering knowledge. How many thoughts a day do you have? Any idea? Yes?
Not too many. They're all reoccurring.
There you go. Well, those reoccurring thoughts still count, though.
Oh.
Okay, so in the number, I don't even know how they would begin to count, but they actually can. There's a science, and if you go home this afternoon and you Google how many thoughts a day you actually have, believe it or not, 50,000. Well, why would that be important? Well, really, we come to our yoga practice with the intention to de-stress. All these thoughts cause an awful lot of stress. And what we hope in our yoga is actually, the problem is we're way too much in here, and we're not enough in here, right? So the idea is to flip that. In Kripalu, it's all about with the heart and going within. So, you know, I like to think that we learn more from what we feel than versus what we are hearing. So I'll stop now, because I could go on and on and on, but I'd like you to experience the practice. So the emphasis, there's going to be three parts to this, just like there's three parts in yoga, the body, the breath, and the mind. In a Kripalu Yoga class, we always begin with an intention and a centering and a warm-up that's kind of all meshed together. Then with the emphasis on the breath. Then the middle part is going to be your postures, which you're going to be really familiar with, but it's going to be a little bit different. With Kripalu, we allow. There's no demand. It's really about being an internal guide. you'll experience that, and then the third part is always the best part, is where we get to integrate it all, and we get to just be. So let's just begin with our index finger. That's our ego. And then our thumbs are our beings. So in Kripalu, what we do is we bow our ego to our being, right? So we just tuck that in, just hold that here. And if you're comfortable, because there's no right or wrong, any yoga practice is not a good or a bad model. It's all based on growth. So if you'd like, only if you're comfortable, close your eyes for a minute. And perhaps having the intention for the next hour that just have a practice of self-care. Perhaps thinking in terms of leaving the ego outside the room and just being. So our centering this morning would be an intention of we all have the capacity to heal ourselves. Kripalu Yoga is a healing art. So just breathe in now with the intention of healing. Perhaps healing through the heart, healing through the mind, healing through the body. And then opening to a soft gaze. And then releasing the fingertips gently out to one side. Here's the heart. If we bring the fingertips back and behind us a little bit. And we lean forward and we feel the shoulder blades. Oh, okay. There's where we want to access ourselves. Easing back. Inhalation, flow fingertips up. Look up at your thumbs. And exhaling down into center. Good. Let's try that again. We're going to inhale. We're going to open the heart. We'll lean forward, see what that feels like. And then we'll exhale, ease back up and back into our center. We'll do that one more time at your own pace. Here's the inhalation and ease forward. And then exhaling back, inhaling up. Let's pause here for a moment. We want to wake our body up a little bit. Yoga is an exploration. It's not a have to. So what would happen if you explored how your shoulders and arms felt this morning as we climbed this imaginary ladder? So we just reach one arm up. What can you notice? Reach the other arm up. Okay, what do those shoulders want to tell you this morning? So resist that urge to let the mind guide you, but rather let the body guide you as you gently arc from side to side and notice. Good. Oh, you're just getting up and you're just, sometimes it's easier to notice if you close your eyes, connect to a deep inhalation, and the exhalation is always the letting go. So our first formal posture is seated forward bend, ease back to center, take a breath, gaze up at the ceiling, and on the exhalation guide the body down and release and let go. Notice. Notice perhaps the weight of the head, the weight of the shoulders, relaxing the jaw. And then what would happen if you just gently walked your fingertips over to your right knee and you lean towards the right and maybe, with the press of your hands, let that left hip socket just be rooted down into the yoga mat. Notice, take a breath. So I'm just going to introduce 5 words that really is the foundation of Kripalu Yoga. The first one being is to breathe. So yoga is really, the master is the breath. So breathe. The second foundation, as you walk your fingertips now over to your left, is to relax. Well, that's a funny word. I mean, I Knees back to center. Change the cross of your legs as you ease yourself up. So the yin-yang, well, we've heard that word, right? So from forward bend to now back bend. Hands in behind you for support. And as you lean back, can you allow the emphasis to be in between your shoulder blades and let the heart shine on the ceiling. Soften your elbows. Take in full body breath. So we have breathe, relax, feel. Oh, there's a tough one. Feel. Open, and not just, what does that mean? It means to open to the sensations of the body. So sensations are the language. What does the body want to tell you this morning when you open the heart? Can you sit with that and just allow that in? Watch. Ease back to center. Change the cross of the legs one more time. And all we're going to do is just rest our left hand on our right knee and look gently over our right shoulder. There's an important word with Kripalu, gentle. So just always being very gentle in the practice, never pushing. They like to say we're finding balance somewhere between effort and surrender. So twisting the spine here, see what you can notice. And then slowly guide the body over to the other side. And I would say this last one is the most allow. Oh, especially if we're used to control. Allow is a tough one. I speak from experience. I have to practice a lot of yoga, allow. So that means to accept yourself and your experience, even in this twist right now, exactly as it is. And dropping that need to change it in any way. So allow. Ease back to center. And we're going to wash all of that information down into the body. We're going to sink the chi. So open the palms of the hands. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Breathe. Sinking the chi. Inhaling up. Relax. As you exhale down. Oh, good. Inhaling up. Feel. As you just sink that chi down. Last two. Watch. And then the last one is to allow. And as we allow, we really want to perhaps let the ego go. So one more time with that hand mudra, bowing the ego into the being, closing your eyes, and notice how you feel compared to just a few minutes ago. How is that practice affected? The karma, what is the effects of breathing, stretching, being? What is the effect of that have on you? Leaving our center in place, moving more and more deeper into the physical body, opening to a soft gaze, and rolling either yourself up onto your knees, if that's possible, or any way that feels right for you. I would say that's also a really important part of Kripalu Yoga. What feels right for you? So in table position, look back at your knees. Make sure your knees are underneath your hips. Your hands are underneath your shoulders. And very simply begin, maybe the focal point is your belly button. Begin to circle your belly button around on the yoga mat. So right now it's not about the pose. Right now it's about the exploration of the spine, the hips and the shoulders as you circle around. So you might want to start out small and see what you notice. And then what would happen if you maybe made those circles even larger? The idea is to find a place in the body where there's some hidden tension. They say we have issues in our tissues. So see where you can possibly find something that's been hiding that you could let go of. Ease back to center. Change the direction. I always find this interesting. Just by simply going in the opposite direction, I get more feedback. What does the body want to say? Circling around, just making sure everyone's okay with this. And the most important part is to give yourself permission to do what stage 2 of yoga is to listen to what you need. Practice of self-care. So again, another interesting, if we're exploring here, let's come back to center and really change the direction of that. So cat and puppy stretch, we're going to inhale, the belly's going to go down, the chin will look up towards the ceiling. So I'm arcing my spine, my elbows are soft. Take a breath here. And then the exhalation cat pose, we're going to really emphasize arcing the spine in the opposite direction. And then we'll go back into puppy stretch. We'll inhale, we'll release the belly down, and we're going to add some movement to this. So this time when we arc the spine up, we're going to draw the hips back to the heels. Then we're going to inhale, we're going to glide forward on the inhalation, and then we'll exhale, almost like a Ferris wheel, right? So we're just going to circle back and forth. So what makes this yoga versus exercise is whenever we land the breath in the body, we want the breath to be in sync with the movement. So possibly connecting your exhalation as the hips come back, your inhalation as your shoulders go forward. And notice, oh wow, this simple movement doesn't look like much, does it? But boy, can I feel a lot in each vertebrae in my spine. Ease back to center. So we're thinking in terms of moving our spines in 6 directions. I like to think of our spine as Grand Central Station, our spinal cord there. Lots going on, right? So we need to really stimulate, wake it up, and activate it. So now we're going to do a barrel roll. So what we're going to do is we're going to arc our spine up to the right, hunch our backs, and then we're going to roll over to the left, and then we're going to sink down like a barrel. So again, very simple movement, but very powerful in that we're getting lots of information into our spine, which houses that central nervous system, which can sometimes be frayed depending on what's going on in our world. And our yoga practice is our connection to that nervous system and being able to really take good care. So how much breath can you bring in to calm that nervous system? Good job, everybody. Excellent. Continuous motion, keep going. What would happen if you changed direction and changed the barrel the other way? Good. And then letting that go. And when you're ready, sitting back on your heels for hero's pose, unless that feels uncomfortable, right? We always have options. There's no right or wrong. Good. Is everybody familiar with Durga and Ujjayi? But not Durga. So Ujjayi is the exhalation, right? Ocean sounding breath. I'm going to just go through the practice of that. Durga is the inhalation. So Durga being 3 parts is your low belly, diaphragmatic breathing, really important. Then out to side breathing in the ribs, so part 1, part 2, part 3. Really important that we think about our breath in our entire container, not just our lungs. You want to ever have anxiety, it's called shallow breathing, and in the upper chest, and for sure the parasympathetic nervous system will go on, right? So whenever that happens, whenever life becomes too much, think about Durga, breathing into the entire body. So let's just place our hands on our belly, and let's just breathe into our bellies. So the inhalation, we balloon our bellies, and our exhalation, we contract the belly. Inhaling, expand. Exhaling, contract. Inhaling, expand. Good. Exhaling, contract. Feel the breath. What does that feel like? Part 2. Let's just place our hands on the ribs. A little bit of side breathing. Can you feel your ribs expand as you breathe in? Maybe it's the very first time you're noticing notice as you breathe in what happens there. So what the focus should be here is the first expansion of the belly, then the side ribs, and all the way up into the heart. Let that go. So Durga, three-part. 1, 2, and 3. Ujjayi, this is the way I teach it at the hospital. So our hand is a mirror, and we're going to fog it up. We'll breathe in, and we'll exhale. That's an exaggeration of Ujjayi, but it's important to really, make that connection. What does that sound like, right? That ocean-sounding breath is a very soothing sound to the nervous system. So let's try that a couple of times. Breathe in, and then exhale. One more time. Breathe in. Feel your breath. Good. We're going to put it all together now. We're going to use our hands. We all have healing hands. We'll breathe into our bellies. We'll breathe into our ribs. We'll breathe into our chest. And then we'll exhale. Good. And again, breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. Exhale. Close your eyes for just a moment. Feel the karma, the effects of your breathing. Sure, we could move on to a pose, but if we don't stop and feel, then we've not really made the connection, that deeper connection. What does your breathing do for you? Open to a soft gaze, coming up onto your knees. Oh, the feet might be a little sore. Anybody have sore feet? Let's turn the toes under. Let's sit back on the heels and stretch out the toes. Winter's almost over. You come back up. Good. Give a little tap. And then just placing your hands on your sacrum, your low back here, for camel pose. Camel pose is a back bend. So we're going to take it in baby steps. Instead of diving in, we like to build a pose. So shift your gaze up towards the ceiling. See if you can notice those low back muscles. Just by merely changing where your gaze is. Take a breath in to the front of the body. Front of the body is the sun. It's where all our energy resides. Back bends are all about energy. They're antidepressants. Breathe in. So the yin-yang, from a back bend now to a forward bend. Easing back, coming into child's pose. Resting your hands down, forehead on your hands. And gently rock your hips from side to side. So forward bends are all about letting go. They're also very good for any issues of anxiety. Breathe in here, and the contrast. When you're ready, we're going to put the two of those together in a vinyasa. This is called flying cow. We're going to inhale, we're going to come up. Gentle back bend here. Oh, the full body breath, that Durga breath. Exhaling Ujjayi, float down to table. Exhaling. Inhalation, we'll look up at the ceiling. And then exhalation, curve our spine back into child's pose. So we're going to put the poses together. Child's pose and camel. Inhaling, float up. There's the inhalation. And then the exhalation is table. Surrender to the earth. Imagine you're pouring all your tension out to the earth. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale, we look up, fill our bellies. And then exhaling, arc the spine up and back into child's pose. We'll do it one last time, only this time without the audio. So yoga is an exploration where we carry our tension, our releasing. For some of us it's in our jaw, some of us it's our shoulders, our low back. Really it's our practices to find out where it is. So I would imagine that a lot of us carry it in our shoulders. Let's just see, let's explore. So what would happen if we inhaled and we brought our shoulders up? And we gave them a really tight squeeze here. Really, really tight. And then the yin-yang, we rolled them back and released them down. Oh, let's do that a couple of times. Let's inhale up, give a squeeze, even tighten all the muscles in your face, even tighten your fist, and then the opposite end of the spectrum is to melt and release and let, what comes up? One last time, inhaling up, give everything a tight squeeze, and then roll back and down. Good. So remember, we're going to want to open through the heart. Let's reach our hands forward. Good. And as if we're rowing a boat here. All we're going to do is pull the elbows back and we're going to lean forward. Let's make it yoga now. So the inhalation, we draw the arms forward. The exhalation, we draw the elbows back. Maybe when we lean forward, we really want to emphasize the opening in the heart. Inhale, arc in the opposite direction. Exhale, release. Good job, everybody. Release your arms. Come up onto the knees. Moving into gate pose. So let's begin with our right knee, bringing it up and out to a 90-degree angle. So yoga really likes to pay attention to alignment. So let's just use our bodies as our guides. So let's take our heel of that right foot and make sure it's lined up with that left knee. And let's just make sure that the knee's not falling in or out, that it's actually in alignment with the hip. Good. Let's rest the right elbow on top of that right thigh. And the tendency sometimes here, I've even done it myself, is this shoulder will fall forward as we do that. So what we want to do is make sure that that shoulder's back. Good. Lengthen up through the crown. Good. Lots of micro-adjusting here, right? No right or wrong. We just move into the pose. Gate pose. Inhalation. That left arm goes straight up. So where's our intention here? It's actually in that left knee, lengthening up through the left side of the body, through the fingertips. Good. Allow your breath to expand from the inside out. Don't want to compete with you for now. So gate pose, here we go. Lengthening on the inhalation, expanding. And where the yoga has kind of turned into an industry is they've made a lot of beautiful poses out there on magazine covers, right? But what we really want to do is take the practice to inner practice, not the pose, but rather where can you notice right now as you breathe in and out? Where's the expansion in the body? Where on the exhalation is there a letting go? We can always modify. Please listen to your body. If it's too much for that arm, let it relax down. Okay, let's explore. What would happen if you guided that right elbow a little further down that thigh? Does that feel okay? Is it too much? Is the body saying, give me a bigger stretch? Or is the body saying, you know what, ease off a little bit? Feels like it's too much. If it's too much for the arm, let it rest down. Find your breath. Your inhalation is your energy. Your exhalation is your release. Where can you soften and let go? Good. Now, for those of you that still have your arm up, you might even want to arc it over towards that right knee. Does that feel okay? Always a potential of going a little further down the road. Maybe you want to look up at the ceiling. Good. Find your breath. So the yin-yang. So here's the information on this side of the body. What would happen if we eased up? Here we go. Just making sure we have good alignment. Let that left hand come to the left side of the body, resting there. Let that right leg go straight. And notice how good this feels. Oh, the balance, eh? The opening. The right side of the body. just going to come around, make sure everyone's okay. It's not important. There's no mirrors in this room, so it's a true yoga studio. The only mirror is your inner mirror, right? Where are you feeling this in the body? And where on your inhalation can you expand? And where on your exhalation can you soften and let go? Right? Good. Soften the muscles. And then for those of you that would like a little more challenge, we would need to engage our abdominals to just make sure that we're not going to torque our low back. But what would happen if you brought that right foot up, maybe an inch? Ooh. See, we don't need to do sit-ups. Wow, I can feel those obliques, eh? Here's effort. Where can you, in your effort, stay calm with your breath? Breathe in. Oh, the best part, the metaphor here, the letting go. Like that. Foot just relax back down, let the fingertips float forward, and ease yourself into child's pose. Oh, that's what it feels like to let go and restore. So safely resting in child's pose. They say yoga pose, yoga pause. So as you pause here and rest in child's pose, what can you notice? Notice yoga doesn't feel right. Notice the chatter in the mind. And can you, with the breath, just let those thoughts go? Bringing yourself into the present moment and sitting with the sensation of the body. Good. So whatever we do to one side of the body, we have to do to the other. When you're ready, slowly float yourself back up. Gate pose on the other side. So let's explore, because for sure no two sides are the same. So first begin by bringing now that left foot up, finding alignment to the knee, finding alignment to the center, going up towards the ceiling. The crown of the head goes straight up. You might even want to just pull up on the crown. Good. So is everyone familiar with the chakra system, the energy system of the body? So think in terms of the cylinders of the chakra right now. All lined up as you lengthen up towards the ceiling. Good. That left elbow maybe not connects. I even find that when I put my elbow down, I'm lengthening that right hip socket. My emphasis is on grounding through that right knee, and my inhalation as I bring that right arm up, I'm lengthening the entire right side of the body. When we breathe in, we expand and lengthen. And then when we breathe out, we soften and let go. So the yin-yang, somewhere between effort and surrender here. If you've moved your body into a place that doesn't feel right, you need to listen to your body and ease off. So this may be as far as you want to go this morning. Or maybe the body's calling you. What's the body calling you to do? Would it like to maybe ease that elbow a little further down, maybe arc a little further more to the left side? Does that feel right? Maybe once you arrive, you want to ease off. So I'm very familiar with all the different traditions in yoga. Iyengar. So Iyengar, I love all the different practices. You move into a pose and that's it. Kripalu, what I really want to emphasize today is that they really say move into the practice, modify and do what feels right for you. It's the yoga that's for everyone. Good. So the yin-yang, easing back, float that hand down, let it just rest outside that right knee, straighten that leg. This part I always like. Now go for that big expansion on your inhalation there. How large can you be? We've all heard that word aura. Maybe you could breathe right now into your aura. And allow yourself to be really large. And before you even consider bringing that heel up, you might want to contract the abdominals, find your core, and then see if that feels good. See if that heel comes up. So once we've arrived in a demanding pose, where can we relax? How can we exhale into ujjayi? appreciate the earth, and slowly ease into child's pose as you surrender down onto the mat. Oh, what does it feel like? Breathe, relax the muscles, release the tension. Feel all the sensations, the feedback, the karma of the body. And when you're ready, and you may even want to stay down. So just ask the body, what does it need? Ease the body back up into table. Gentle cat and puppy stretch here before we bring the right knee forward. So we're going to bring the right foot forward, I should say, in a lunge. Good. And yes, that's where we're going. We're going to go down to warrior one, knee down, warrior one. So we're going to come up and rest our hands. And all we're going to do is from here is we're going to lean the hips forward. We're going to feel that hip flexor. Relax the jaw. So our jaw is connected to our hips. So if you're the kind of person who clenches your jaw, the tendency is you'll have tight hips. So if you could relax your jaw, relax your hips. Inhalation, arms float up, knee down, warrior, and return to that cylinder inside the body, the energy system. And all I'd like you to think about is rotating that cylinder over towards that knee. So we're going to just turn towards that right knee, swiveling that cylinder around. Good. And then the exhalation, we're going to just namaste our hands down to our heart center here. If possible, a little bit of balance here. If we're a little wibbly wobbly, that's okay. And then can that left elbow come to that right knee? Oh, feel the twist. Breathe into it. Good. And again, there's always potential to go a little further down. Maybe some of us want to see what it would be like to open those arms up towards the ceiling. Maybe that inside here could go down to the mat. Good. Maybe not. Take a breath. Exhale, ujjayi. Squeeze back to center. Placing the hands on either side of that front bent knee. Turn the back toes under. We all know this one, right? Downward dog. Bring that forward foot back. Drop into your heels. So a lot of the poses represent, are coming with some of the sutras, right? Some of the ancient teachings of yoga. So when we go into downward dog, I'd say it's a great example of Kripalu because it's an inversion and it places our hearts above our heads. And that would be the foundation of Kripalu Yoga. When we lead with our hearts and not our heads. Good. Take a breath here. Stretch out the back of the legs. There's the nice physical benefit of that. Now look between your hands. And stepping forward now with the opposite foot. With your left foot, let it land in between your two hands. And if it takes 2 steps, that's okay. Dropping that back right knee. Pause for a moment. Find alignment. So a couple of us, including myself, is a little wibbly wobbly on that warrior one. What you might want to do is have a wider base of support and bring now that left foot further out so that you have a wider base of support. Coming up to that left knee, pause for a moment. And we'll do a gentle back bend here with our warrior one this time. Reach your arms. Bring your shoulders up towards the ear hole and back and down. And when you're ready, inhalation. Lift that hip flexor, ease forward on the right side, looking up towards the ceiling. Take a breath. Ease back to center. And then imagining from the root chakra, right, from the tailbone right up to the crown, this internal energy system just swiveling around now over to the left. Pause. breath. Any wibbly wobbly, that's okay. And then exhale, namaste down into your center. Ease that right all the way down to the left knee. Good. Maybe not, holding the hands. A bigger twist now. Both hands go down, back toes under, and then one more time, downward dog, dropping into your heels, stretching out the calves. And then can you walk your toes up towards your hands, or your hands back to your toes, in gentle Uttanasana, standing forward bend. And again, just checking with the alignment of your feet, making sure they're hip-width apart. Knees are soft. So putting it all together now. So in a forward bend, we're surrendering. It's very calming. Back of the body's the moon. And then slowly begin to roll the spine up. Feeling the contrast from being down on the mat into the four corners of the feet. Hands in behind, resting on the sacrum. From forward bend to back bend. Just shifting your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then from here, if you'd like to go a little deeper, there's always these options. We can always modify in Kripalu. So maybe releasing the hands down, interlacing the fingers, and there's that heart chakra that we're talking about. Accessing. So the tendency is to want to let momentum bring you back. See if you can soften, just being very gentle with yourself, doing a little less. We really don't want to wake up tomorrow and go, oh, that yoga. We want to wake up tomorrow and go, oh, found that connection in my yoga. Easing back to center. Good. Inhalation, arms float up into Tadasana, mountain pose. So look down at our feet. Make sure our feet are hip-width apart. Good. Maybe using the yoga mat as our guide to make sure the outside of the foot. Good. Now the lengthening, the expansion on the inhalation up through the crown. Good. Breathing in. It's amazing, isn't it? Just how standing on the earth can be so much effort. Take a breath. Here we are. I like that. I even like how Sanskrit works. Tadasana. It's like, here I am, ta-da! Breathing in, expand way beyond the lungs. Think in terms of every single cell in the body was receiving your breath, and in doing so, bringing health and vitality. Well, that's a lot different than just taking a breath, isn't it? Intention is everything. So from Tadasana to Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, let's just hold our left wrist. Take a breath. And keeping both feet firmly planted in the mat, let's lengthen up over to the right. Oh, feel the left side of the body expand. Or if you soften and let go. Oh, I was going way too much into effort there. Release, back off a little bit. Gentle. Ease back to center. Notice before you do the other side how one side feels compared to the other. And we all just bring our arms back a little bit more. Oh, there's that heart center again. Good. Then check out the other side. As you lengthen on your inhalation. So the tendency is with the yoga industry is to beautify everything. So they've got these huge arcs. Oh, and actually it's so not necessary. It's more important to think about lengthening and expanding the inside of the body. What's going on internally, not externally. We do enough of that. We do enough of what's going on externally. What's going on internally? Ease back to center. There's that effort. And now float. See if you can notice the sensation of floating as you release the fingertips down. Oh. Good. Coming up to Namaste, hands in front. tapping into that heart center again. Thumbs go up. Take a breath. We'll namaste our hands. Good. And like we're a bow and arrow here. We're going to just pull that left arm back. Oh, feel those shoulder blades. Comes back. And the elbow straight back. Good. And then ease back to center. Good. And then check out the other side as you pull it back. Oh. Good. And release it back. And moving through that a couple of times and seeing, it's kind of good to move in and out of poses and check the range. Can the range go a little further, or does it need to ease off? So just explore, right? What feels right for you this morning? And how would your breath land in this movement? Easing back and forth. And now we're going to put all of that together. So come back to center, namaste our hands in half sun salutes. Taking our time. Any flow in yoga is called the vinyasa, so we'll flow with our body and our breath down. The inhalation will release the fingertips all the way. We'll take some of that energy way up there, right? And then we'll exhale, we'll surrender down to the earth. Let fingertips possibly touch our toes. And we'll imagine all the tension being absorbed by the earth as we exhale and pour out. Soften the bend in our knees. Let earth hold and support us. Bend our knees. Oh, that's what that feels like. Now what does it feel like if we roll the spine up and we rest our elbows on our bent knee and we hold the breath in? So breath retention is all about absorbing energy. We practice that in yoga to really expand the body inside. Hold the breath in, hold it in, hold it in, keep holding it in. And now exhale back down to the toes, pour out. It's almost like a deep clean when we hold our breath. Inhalation, we float back up. And then we exhale down into namaste. We're going to go through that again. Does anybody have any questions? So think about it. Like we connect the dots when we practice yoga, right? Inhalation is always the expansion. Exhalation is the contraction. Inhalation is a back bend. Exhalation is a forward bend. Half sun salutes is a really good example of that. So placing our hands in namaste. Feel your feet. Feel the imprint. Maybe roll around a little bit and just really acknowledge your connection to the mat, to the earth. And when you're ready, the inhalation begins a nice gentle back bend. How deeply you breathe. And then the exhalation is a pouring out, swan dive down to the earth. Knees are bent so that our hands can actually touch the earth. Fully exhale, contract the abdominals back to the spine and exhale even more. And then inhale, draw the elbows up, rest just above the knees, and hold the breath in. So for each one of us, that's going to be different, right? But for this morning, just hold in for as long as feels right for you. I'm just merely a guide. Let all that oxygen be absorbed by yourself. Now pour out and exhale. Imagine you're cleaning out the closet and you're getting into the corners. That's what that half sun salute. Inhale all the way back up. And then exhale back into namaste. So I'd really like you to practice this when you're not here on the mat, when you're at home. So without my audio, moving into half sun salutes without me. center will have a balancing component. So we're going to do tree pose and piriform stretch. So it's going to look a little bit like this. This is a very quick demo for you. So first we'll go like this. What I want you to be sure of, I've noticed over the years when we practice tree pose, there's a tendency, and you can have your foot here, or you can have your foot here, but quite often what happens is this hip buckles out. What happens is this foot presses into that leg and the hip buckles out. What I want you to be aware of is that as that foot presses in, that leg presses in. So the yin-yang, we're pressing the two together, the right and the left. So we'll go from tree pose, we'll come out of that, and we'll move directly into piriform stretch. We'll cross that ankle over just above the knee, and we'll ease the hips down. And again, if anything doesn't feel right, we don't do it, right? So find your grounding, find your breath, find your drishti. Anybody know what your drishti is? Your focal point, land your gaze on something that's not moving. If your eyes are moving, you'll have a lot of challenge with your balance. So we're going to build a pose. Shift your weight over into your right foot, and then placing the sole of that foot to the inside of the leg. It's very unimportant whether that even the toes come off. Maybe the toes want to stay down. What we want to do is keep that anchor, that supporting leg straight, have a gentle bend in the knee, placing our hands in namaste, and then maybe the hands come up. Here's an excellent example of practicing Kripalu Yoga again. Where can you be gentle with yourself? Where can you be accepting with what is this morning? Maybe it's a very wiggly, wobbly tree. That's okay. Maybe the toe needs to come down and you need to readjust. That's okay. And then from tree pose, let's see if we can very slowly ease into the other toes. Crossing that foot over, easing at the hips, coming down to the earth. Oh, feeling that stretch in the outer glute. So this is an excellent pose for any issues with sciatica. Breathe in, and if the hands don't come to the earth, maybe you just want to even just rest on the lower leg. That's a breath here. Wow. Any modification is fantastic. That means you're doing stage 2 yoga. And explore. I see some movement going on in the room, which is fantastic. What happens when you do move that knee further out? What happens when you do bend that supporting leg? What happens when you come up and out of it? And easing up. And then being grateful for that supporting leg. Thank you, leg. And then just empty coasters. Let that go. Let the arms just twist from one side to the other. And then whatever direction your chin is going in, then let it go in the opposite direction. And before we do the other side, a little bit of brain yoga now. Come back to center, pause. So just acknowledge here just the middle finger with the thumb, the tip of the thumb, the pad of that middle finger. Maybe circle the thumb around on it and feel the sensation of your touch. Activating the sense of touch. Good. Release, let that go. Let's see if it's possible. Focus, concentration. If we inhale up, and those middle fingers touch up over the crown. Where are they? Where is it? Oh, there it is. I found it. Just the middle finger, nothing else. There we go. It's about being in the moment, right? It's about being on the mat. Release down. And let's see if we can do that again. Inhalation up. So this is a neat little trick to do if mind is really active. How can I bring myself into this moment? This time when we better at it. See, that's the thing about practice. We're good at it. So unification, yoga mudra, inhalation, all the fingers touch now. Oh, unifying ourselves. Exhaling down, good. One last time, inhaling up. Hands and finger touch. Inhale down to our center. Okay, so what we've done, our intention for our practice is to release, to let go. So in our release, we've created space in our bodies. We'll do another hand move for here. The heel of the hand touches the thumb and the pinky. This is lotus flower. We hold this in front of our hearts. Kripalu Yoga is all about the heart. So just pause for a minute and imagine we've released all the knots in the body and we've expanded our breath. Close your eyes for a moment. What would the body require more of right now? And if you could, use a mantra, a word, a mind tool. Maybe it's fun, maybe it's health, maybe it's love, maybe it's peace. What resonates for you? What connects for you? What speaks to you? Opening to a soft gaze. Interlace the fingers. Inhalation all the way up. And then Ardha Chandrasana at one. Arc the spine from one side to the other. Pure side bending. Take your time. And then stepping the feet, come back to center. Stepping the feet, hip width apart. Angle the feet out. Good. Soften the bend in the knees. A nice squat. So finger expansion here. Release the hands. Inhaling, energy up above. Exhaling down to the earth. Good. Inhaling up. Find your feet grounded and then exhaling down. How large can we make ourselves? Inhaling up. Good. And exhaling down. Last time. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. We're going to make it a little trickier now. So we're going to inhale up. And now, so the yin-yang from large to now, what happens when we cross one foot over the other? Good. So whatever leg is crossed over, I've got my right leg. Inhaling, the right arm comes up, holding on with the left wrist, and Ardha Chandrasana. Now notice how just a simple change in alignment of the body completely changes the dynamic of the stretch. Let's check our possibility here. How flexible are we? Let's ease back to center and just try the other side. Crossing over and stretching up out of that hip socket. And we'll check the possibility. Squeeze back to center. Make sure you have a nice wide cross and see if you can bend at the knees and come down. Bend at the knees and come down. Come down onto your seat. Now here's the last piece that's really hard. Oh, no, we still want to have the same bend that we have. And then we want to see if we can come up. Oh, very good. They're doing studies at York University. The ability to get up is really important in life. So there's the metaphor in yoga, right? So we just want to practice it. If we didn't get up, we don't want to be judgy and like, oh, I didn't get up. That's not the idea. The idea is, okay, so just for today, so come back now. Just for today, using my core, not using my hands, I can see if I can get myself up. Maybe, maybe not. It's a practice. And it's okay. It's okay. Good job. Ease back down onto the mat. Now we can make a part of the yoga class. Let's come down onto our backs, hug our knees into our chest. Oh, feel your spine. Take that moment to enjoy what it feels like to be on your back for a moment, chin slightly back onto your chest. You gently rock your knees from one side to the other. There you go. You circle your knees around on the ceiling. returning to what we know, which is the nervous system, really, which is connected to the spinal cord, needs one last, in order for me to relax, one last twist. So in Kripalu Yoga, we always end our practice with a twist and one more thing. So knees into your chest, arms out into position. And then all we're going to do is we're going to straighten that right leg, the left knee is bent, and then ride that left knee over to the right. Nice knee down twist here. Good. Excellent. So that supporting leg is straight if possible. So again, there's always a version. So the knee that's crossed over is bent. Well, what would it be like if you straightened that leg? So now maybe stretching out your IT band, right? But where can you, in the twist, allow the body to sink down to the mat? Full spinal twist, chin in the opposite direction. Breathe in and out. Oh, maybe ujjayi here would work really well. Maybe see what that would feel like as you exhale. Can the muscles soften? Can you, even if we didn't see it externally, a letting go physically, can you internally let go of something somewhere? And then when you're ready, explore the other side. So gently ease back, just being very careful with your low back. Maybe hug your knees in, that's a good idea. And massage the sacrum as you roll them around. Maybe some of you, your feet are on the mat, maybe you want to arc your knees from side to side. Explore, okay? What is the best possible thing for you to do for self-care right now? As you slowly ease yourself into a twist on the other side. Reconnecting with the jaw, breathing in, yoga, and exhaling your jaw. Maybe that top leg wants to go straight. Maybe it's a deeper stretch. What feels right? Take a moment to freestyle. So really do whatever the body's calling you to do. There might be another pose you might want. There might be a stretch. There might be something that looks nothing like yoga, not important. What would you need to do to enter perhaps the most important part? Everything we've done up till now is really for relaxation. Might even want to put on some socks and a sweater. Quite often when we go into relaxation, the body becomes cold, and we really want to go to a deeper level. So just making sure there's nothing that's going to distract you. Not to worry when it's relaxation over. You will hear the chime, and I'll slowly bring you back. So really take advantage of this time to go deeply deep. I will guide you through. We're going to do a heart meditation this morning. So Shavasana is a pose. It's not a matter of just lying back on the mat and flopping there. When we lie back, our feet are, say, 6 to 8 inches apart, and we let the big toes flop out. And when we do that, then the hips can sink down. Our arms are resting by our side, and we jiggle back and forth into the shoulder blades, and we leave an imprint in the mat. So I like to say the palms can be turned up or down. So maybe just see what feels right. If they're up, we receive energy from above. If they're down, we receive energy from the earth. So there's no right or wrong. Our chin is slightly tucked in, and we think in terms of returning to our chakra system, the cylinders, the internal energy system all lined up. Maybe even visualize that right now. Everything's lined up, breathing in and out. And as we enter this heart meditation, I'll share with you a quote from The Little Prince. The most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or touched. They are felt with the heart. Breathe into your heart. Breathe in and out. One last pranayama technique, relaxation breath. What I'd like you to do is breathe in for 5, hold for 10, and exhale for 15. If it doesn't work, you can always go 4, 8, 12, but let's give it a try. Usually it's okay. When you're ready, breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'd like you to circle through that one more time. 5, 10, 15. The dry will help you on your exhalation to slow it down. body stretching maybe the arms up overhead. And we want to always be really careful with our low back. So let's bend our knees and just roll over to our right side and pause there for a moment. Rolling onto your right side, rest there, placing your left hand with palm on the mat in front of your heart. Slowly easing the body up, coming back to center. We're going to close the practice with Om. Not sure, Helena, do you practice Om chanting? Sometimes. Okay, well this morning is the morning we're going to be practicing Om. So Om is not like a religious thing. It's not anything to do or anything to be afraid of. Actually, this universal sound of Om, if you reached out into the far spectrums of the universe, that's the original sound of Om. You'll see it a lot. It's on my necklace. It's outside the door of this studio, the symbol of Om. And the practice of Om, chanting Om, has a vibrational sound. Just like ultrasound brings healing into the body, when we chant Om, the vibrational sound brings healing into the body. And in Kripalu Yoga, that's how we always close the class. So I will, has anyone ever chanted Om before? Okay, good. So it's not going to be too freaky for you. Okay, good. So I like to always expand. I inhale, open. And then closing my practice with Two more. Vibration in the heart. One last one to send you off into your day. Namaste. Thank you for joining us. Namaste. So I brought some handouts for you and a guide, and it's not important to remember anything that we've done, just to really notice how you feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you next time. If anybody has any questions for me, I'm here for a little bit. Please feel free.